Ray, don't talk to me about the weather. Whenever people talk to me about the weather, I feel quite certain they mean something else, and that makes me so nervous.
I do mean something else.
I thought so.
I would like to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary absence.
I would certainly advise you to do so. Mama has a way of coming back suddenly into a room that I have had to speak to her about.
Gwendolyn, ever since I've met you, I've admired you more than anyone I've ever met. Since I met you.
Yes, I'm quite aware of that fact. And I wish that in public, at any rate, you had been more demonstrative. You have always held an irresistible fascination for me. Even before I met you, I was far from indifferent to you. We live, as I hope you know, Mr. Worthing, in an age of ideals. The fact is constantly mentioned in the more expensive monthly magazines, and my ideal has always been to love someone of the name Earnest. There's something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. From the moment Algernon first mentioned to me that he had a friend named Earnest, I knew I was destined to love you.
You really love me, Gwendolyn?
Passionately.
Darling, you don't know how happy you've made me.
My own Earnest.
Of course, but you don't mean to say that you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Earnest.
But your name is Earnest.
Yes, but supposing it was something else, do you mean to say you couldn't love me then?
Oh, that is clearly a metaphysical speculation. And like all metaphysical speculations, it has very little reference to the actual facts of life as we know them.
Well, personally, darling, I don't much like the name of Earnest. Don't think it suits me.
It suits you perfectly. It's a divine name. It has a music of its own. It produces vibrations.
Well, I think there are some much better, nicer names. I think Jack, for instance, a great name.
Jack? No, there's very little music in the name Jack, if any at all, indeed. It does not thrill. It produces absolutely no vibrations. I have known several Jacks, all of who were more than usually plain. Besides, Jack is a notorious domesticity for John, and I pity any woman who is married to a man named John. She would probably never be allowed to know the entrancing pleasure of a single moment's solitude. The only really safe name is Earnest.